was on top of it, making sure that everything was clean, making sure they spaced out the recording sessions, etc. Funimation did a whole different thing where every voice of every character you've heard in an anime in Funimation for the past 2 years, every one of those actors were in their own home, recording it over the internet, talking over the internet to Funimation, watching the video to their closet or wherever they were recording it. They all came from different places. So it wasn't just in one studio, the actors coming in one at a time. It was scheduled with people who live all over the state, California, New York, wherever they were coming in, recording all their voices from different rooms. And the engineers had to make it all sound like it came from the same thing. So anything you watched from Sentai or Funimation has been recorded under very different circumstances, and they really had to step up. So it's pretty. That's a good question. I love the hair. The hair is on point. For One Piece, believe it or not, we re-recorded the legendary first fight between Zoro and Mihawk in a special release for Blu-ray. And he came at him and he's telling him all this threatening stuff, and Zoro's just trying to attack him. Two swords, and I'm just sitting there with a little bitty blade, and I'm just going, and I go, you're certainly ferocious, I'll give you that. That's one of my favorite things.
So for One Piece, Sir Crocodile, my favorite line is, weakness is a sin.
That's it.
And for my hero, it would have to be where is your smile now? I am
You're scaring me now.
Out there, how do you manage the strain that puts on your vocal cords? And is there a limit where I just can't do this for this character?
Absolutely, there's a limit. When I was recording Salvador for Borderlands 2, I would go up to Oakatron in Dallas, and it's a 4-hour drive, I north there. And I would be doing live like this for 4 hours. And when I left, it would be like, I'll see y'all later. And I would have to be, 4 hours home, not say a word, because the only way to fix that is to not talk. You don't even whisper. You don't want any air flowing over your vocal cords other than what's needing to breathe. But, so you want to be very mindful of that. I did a character in a show called My Bride is a Mermaid. I played Rosaburo, and every line he did, he yelled. So we would literally work for about 15 minutes and then take a 30-minute break. And they knew the character was going to be like that, so they built that into the recording time. So it was, you got to be very, very mindful of it. And then things like hot tea, it's good, water, whiskey. That's what I do anyway.
Potato chips, believe it or not, potato chips really help. If you get some good old greasy potato chips, it kind of smooths the gunk out of there. I agree with whiskey. I agree with not too much for a session. Unless you want to get really interesting results. But no, throat coat tea is really good with honey, and potato chips are good, and a lot of water all the time. But yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. There are some voices that I did in the late 90s that I can't do anymore, literally, because I can't scream at that pitch 20 years later, because I'm doing it for over 25 years, but no, he's right. The script is like really silly words, exalting, behold, the beautiful body, and all its examples, and the director's like, no. He had a cigarette break, came down, rewrote it completely, had me do it like Schwarzenegger, like Hans and Franz, and he rewrote everything. I was going, you should be
Hey everyone, hope you guys enjoyed that interview with John Swasey and John Germillion. I had a blast getting to see them talk on the interview together, and the whole Comic-Con in general was so fun. And speaking of, I did find a ton of Black Series figures to review in the future, along with something that I was not expecting to find. Starting off, we have the Mandalorian from the Red Line. I do not have this in my collection, and I'm really happy I got my hands on it. Up next, I did get Bane. Thankfully, I was able to get a hold of him, and I never thought I'd be able to get this figure due to the popularity that has grown since his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett. Another Clone Wars line figure is the 332nd Ahsoka Clone Trooper. This never appeared at my Walmart, so I'm happy to have this in my collection. And something to add to the Mandalorian line is the Artillery Stormtrooper. This was so hard to find. I do know that it is on Amazon, but sometimes for me in my area it would be out of stock. Luckily it showed up at Comic-Con. I also picked up Chiru Imwe from the Rogue One line, and he was the only one there at a GameStop that was nearby. So hopefully in the future I can get a hold of the rest of the crew. And last but not least was something that I was not expecting to find at all at this Comic-Con. And I was just passing by people's booths and found this. The Hasbro Pulse exclusive Vintage Collection Rebel Fleet Trooper Pack. I am really happy to have this in my collection, and I was totally not expecting to find it at all. And just saw it at a booth, and I was able to pick one up. Speaking of which, I have reviewed a lot of Black Series figures so far on the channel, and I really haven't reviewed anything dealing with the vintage collection, so maybe I'll review this later on as my first ever vintage collection review. But I am going to end it here and say, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, I review a lot of Black Series figures and much more down the line, so if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe because we are very close to our 10 subscriber goal. And when I do reach that, I am going to make a top 10 rarest Black Series figures video. And as soon as we hit that mark, I'll be sure to release that video or work on it at least. But anyways, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys on the next one.